In today's lesson, we're going to look at how we can translate some of the word problems into an expression so that we can easily find whatever they're looking for. Before we can do that, we first need to know other words that means addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So to simplify, to make it easier for you, I made this table and we're just going to fill in the words that means to add, to subtract, multiply, divide, and eventually equality. There are there are 6 words that means to add. One of them is the word sum. Plus means to add, and you would most likely have encountered some of these words in the past. Added to also means to add. More than means to add. Increase by means to add. And the word total also means to add. If you read a problem and see either any one of these 6 words, then it means to add. Words that means to subtract. Difference means to subtract. Minus means to subtract. Subtract means to subtract, right? Less than means to subtract. Decrease by means to subtract. So decreased by. Okay. Less means to subtract. So any of these 6 words means to take away. Words that means multiplication, and remember that multiplication can be represented by a few ways. It could be represented by maybe parentheses, a dot, and then the common way is that X symbol for multiplication. The word product means to multiply. The word times means to multiply. The word multiply means to multiply. The word of means to multiply. So this is a very tricky one. You will see a lot of these. The word double, triple means to multiply. So double, triple means to multiply. The word multiply means to multiply. And the reason why I wrote the word multiply again is because sometimes you might see multiply by, sometimes you might just see multiply, but it means to multiply. What words means division? And remember, division comes in this form, division symbol. You might get a bar with a numerator and denominator. That also means to division. Here's another symbol for division that we talked about. So words that means to division. Quotient means to division. Quotient means to divide. The word divide refers to division. The word shared equally, right? Because that's what division is. The word among means to divide. The word divided by means to divide. And then one last but not least is divided into. So in other words, if you see the word divide, then it just means to divide. But sometimes the problem can involve equally, it can involve by, into, or just perhaps divide itself. All right. Now equality means equal. So the symbol for equality is just that equal sign. What keywords would we look for that would mean to would represent this symbol? And one of those keywords is the word equal. Sometimes you might see equal to. Sometimes you might see is. The word is also means to equal. So be careful. This one is, you're going to see a lot of that. Or if you see the word yields, that also means to equal. All right. So if you need, take some time to look over these words. And if I were you, I would just kind of read them through again and make sure I understand which one of these would refer to which symbols clearly. Now, once we know these, then we're ready to kind of get down to business in solving word problems. Let's start with an easy one, and then we're going to talk about strategies on how we approach these word problems. The Hudson River in New York State is 306 miles long. The Snake River in the northwestern U.S. is 732 miles longer than the Hudson River. The question here is, how long is the Snake River? So from perhaps looking at a problem, we first want to read it a couple times to understand the problem, and that's where the understanding comes into play. So if you haven't understood what the problem is asking you, my hint to you is try to understand the problem by rereading the problem. So read and reread if you need. Okay. So once you have perhaps reread the problems, another helpful strategy to help interpret what this problem is really saying and asking is to draw a diagram. So draw a picture is also pretty useful. All right. So first, here's what it says. The Hudson River is 306 miles long. So maybe draw a river and call this the Hudson River, and it is 306 miles. All right. Now, proceeding from the next sentence, it says that the Snake River is 732 miles longer than the Hudson River. So the Snake River has to look like this. It starts at the same point, all right, and then it kind of keeps going, all right. The distance that is longer means that from where the Hudson River ends, the 732 miles longer would go into this location respectively from here to here. That would be 732 miles. So this is the Snake River. Okay, this entire length is the Snake River, and it's 732 miles longer than the Hudson River. So the Hudson River and the Snake River, they start at the same point, but they end at different points. If you look at our drawing, you can kind of see that the Hudson River is pretty short. So once we have perhaps draw a picture of what they're saying, then we can translate into an expression and then solve. The way how I would translate this problem is I would say it like this. Snake River is 732 miles longer than Hudson. All right. So, and that's pretty much coming from the original problem. Snake is 732 miles longer than the Hudson. From translating, I'm ready to set up an equation and solve. So Snake River is what we're looking for. We're looking for the length of the Snake River because we don't know how long that is. The word is, from looking at our table up here, we see that is means to equal. So you want to replace the word, the symbol equal for the word is. 732 miles. Longer means to add. All right, longer means to add because we're looking for things that are longer. Longer kind of goes hand in hand with the word more than. So longer will be translated into an add symbol. I'm adding. And then remember that the Hudson River is 306 miles. All right, from the above, we know that the Hudson is 306 miles. So we set up from the translation, we set up an expression, and now from solving it by adding these two together, we're going to be able to see the fact that if we add 732 to 306, we're going to get 1,038 miles. All right, so we finally answer the question, How long is the Snake River? The Snake River is 1,038 miles long. Make sure that you answer the question in a complete sentence. There you go. Let's take a look at other examples. Okay. And if you remember, we're following these three steps to help us understand and solve the problem. So 4 friends bought a lottery ticket and won $65,000. If each person is to receive the same amount, how much does each person receive? Perhaps at this point, you might not need to perhaps break a problem into, parts like these in order to answer the question. But I'd like you to try your best to do that, because if you're able to do that, then you're going to be able to tackle more challenging problems down the line. So we read the problem, and that's the process of understanding the problem. 4 friends bought a lottery ticket and won $65,000. And remember, understanding the problem could also mean summarizing what the problem says. All right. So we can say won 65,000. Okay. And then 4 friends, so 4 people. All right. How much does each person receive? Perhaps we want to divide 65,000 evenly, and that will help basically decide how much each person receive if we divide $65,000 evenly into 4. All right. So we translate the problem. We understood the problem. Now let's go ahead and translate it. The way how we're going to translate this problem is we could say 65,000 divided by 4 is what number? All right, so we translate that into something that's simple enough for us to perhaps do the work. Now let's go ahead and set up an expression, a mathematical expression, and solve this. So 65,000 divided by 4, see, divided by 4 is what number? So we're looking for a value. All right. In order to divide, we have to use long division, which hopefully you know how to do that. Set this up using long division. Put the 65,000 inside the symbol and put the 4 on the outside. 4 goes into 6 one time. 4 times 1 is 4. Subtract, you have 2. Bring down the 5. 4 goes into 25. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. So 4 goes into 25 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. We subtract, you get a remainder of 1, and then you bring down the 0. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Sorry, I'm running short on room. 10 take away 8, that gives you 2. We bring down the next 0, and then 4 goes into 20 5 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract that, you're going to have a remainder of 0. And then that last 0 that you see there, this last 0 right here, all you have to do is you bring this last 0 up. All right. So by completing this problem, we know that each person is going to receive $16,250. So write the answer. So each person receives $16,250. And if you need to rewatch the video to understand what I did, feel free to do that. Feel free to pause, give yourself time to complete the math. Last problem before we end this lesson. The LA Kings, they just won the Stanley Cup, and so they're celebrating at the Staples Center. So you have a large group of friends that you want to bring to the celebration. You want to purchase 425 tickets for you and your friends to go to the LA Kings celebration at the cost of $4 each. The question here is, what is the total cost of 425 tickets? So we would try to understand the problem by reading the problem again if you need, but if you did, then you can kind of summarize what the problem says. So purchase 425 tickets. Okay, cost is $4 per ticket. All right, let's go ahead and write this in a phrase, and then we're gonna go ahead and translate it to solve. So total cost, because we're looking for what is the total cost. Right, so total cost is the number of tickets times the cost per ticket. From translating this problem into a sentence, we can now go ahead and solve. So total, which is what we're looking for, total. Remember, the word is means equal. Number of tickets, that's 425. Time means to multiply. The cost per ticket is $4. So if we multiply these together, we will be able to know exactly how much we're paying. So I'm going to go ahead and do the multiplication on the side here, and try not to use a calculator. Try to do everything by hand so that you can improve your ability to multiply numbers. 4 times 5 is 20. So you write down the 0 with the remainder of 2. 4 times 2 is 8 with the remainder of 2 is 10. So write down the number 0 with the remainder of 1. That makes it a 10. See? 4 times 4 is 16 with that remainder of 1 makes it 17. So it comes out to be $1,700. Now let's go ahead and answer the question. The total cost of 425 tickets is $1,700. I will see you in the next video.